Feel the parts of your body that hold tension. Maybe direct your breath into those spaces that feel tight or that feel restricted. See if you can find more space. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. Stay here about 10 more breaths. A few more breaths here. Gently begin to lift your upper body. Slow. Good. Lean back on your hands. Untangle the legs. Yeah, you can windshield wiper them. You can extend them, whatever feels good. Finding some counter. We've got one more forward fold, seated forward fold, and then we'll switch it up. So our last final seated forward fold here is legs extended out in front of you. Okay, and I like to have some space between my legs. Okay, now, yeah, I see you grabbing your blanket. That's a great option. So if you want to place a bolster or folded blanket in between the legs or on the legs, I also like to keep my knees bent. So if it's helpful for you to use a prop under your knees, you can do that. And you can keep them bent on their own, or you can, slide your blocks under there. And that just kind of makes sure that they stay bent. Okay, I like to bring a bolster, or you can, layer it up here. It's just a real soft forward fold. So build it up so you can really rest into it. It's like you're just draping your upper body forward. Don't worry about the direction of your feet. You can just allow them to be soft here. They don't need to be flexed. Just allowing the whole back of the body to soften and release. Big back body stretch. Supporting the upper body here. So again, take your time as you settle in here. And know and allow this posture to take its time. Okay, again, it doesn't have to be the fullest expression of your posture right from the get-go. It feels like something's catching or stressing or pulling. You can ease out a little bit and always ease back in. Okay, so we like to pay attention to sensation in our yoga practice, but it doesn't have to be like the loudest sensation. Okay, so really subtle sensations are just as valuable to sit with. So oftentimes, this applies to a lot of things. The loudest thing gets heard. The loudest sensation, the loudest voice in the room. So pay attention to the quiet. Pay attention to the whisper. Oftentimes when we let our body get still and we let our mind get quiet, that's when we hear the whispers in our own mind. The thoughts or the ideas, they get buried under the other more loud ones. So this practice of getting quiet, of getting still, is really valuable. Stay here about 10 more breaths. Gently, slowly, as if you're moving in slow motion, begin to lift your upper body. And if you have bolsters or blankets, move them to your left side. And then gently start to ease yourself onto your back. Make sure you have a block nearby as you come onto your back. And land in constructive rest. So on your back, knees bent, knees dropping toward one another, feet as wide as your mat. So it's like knock-kneed. Soles of the feet on the ground, knees bent, knees falling toward one another. So letting that lower back settle. Just giving yourself a little time as you transition. Okay, it should feel pretty good to come onto your back here. Rest your head. Feel the back of your shoulders resting on the ground. Follow the line of your spine from your neck all the way down to your tailbone, resting on the ground. Just a few breaths here in transition. And from here, we're gonna stretch the body out long onto our back, arms up above the head. Just getting really long in the body. And then either interlace your hands above your head or grab opposite elbows if that feels okay on your back. And we're gonna lift our upper body and shift it to the right. And then walk the feet over to the right. So setting up for that banana pose on your back. So it's a side body stretch. And we're gonna let this be kind of a gentle banana posture. So we do want some side body opening, but you don't have to go into the deepest version of your side body bend here. You can let it be really subtle. Okay, so with the upper body and the feet heading to the right, the side body stretch is going to happen on the left side of your body. Okay, you might even feel it up into your left tricep, your left armpit, the left side of your ribs, your left outer hip. You might even feel it in your left outer thigh. Settle in. Both sets of shoulders are resting on the ground. Both sides of your pelvis are resting on the ground. Option to cross your right ankle on top of your left ankle if that helps ground the left side of your body. Settle in here about 10 breaths. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. Halfway there. One more breath in. One more breath out. Really, really slowly. Start to bring your body back into a straight line. So maybe shift the upper body first and then the feet. Or you can do the reverse. As you come back into alignment here, be intuitive and do what you need to make yourself feel kind of back in alignment. Okay, if you need to lift your hips a little bit, you can do that. If you need to draw your knees into your chest or circle the knees or rock the knees, give yourself a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, give yourself a couple breaths here to transition. Okay, so the transitions can really be just as important. They're just as valuable as the postures that we land in. Okay, and this is a time where you can really be intuitive and listen to your body. When you're ready, stretch your body out long again. And then we'll set up for that banana posture on the other side. So this time upper body shifts to the left, and then the feet shift over to the left. Option to cross the left ankle on the right ankle. So it's the right side of the body that is lengthening, that is stretching. Take your time to set yourself up so that you're in a place that you can stay in for about 2 minutes. Okay, so if you've set yourself up in a really intense side bend, it may not be sustainable. You might need to ease out a little bit. So find that subtle stretch, that sensation that's just enough. And then allow yourself to get quiet. Allow your posture to be quiet so that you can hear that quiet voice, that subtle sensation, so that you can pay attention to that. We've got about 7 more breaths here. Okay. And gently, in slow motion, ease yourself back into a straight line. Take your time. Be intuitive and move in a way that makes you feel reconnected. And gently draw your knees in toward your chest. And consider rocking side to side or circling the knees. And then allow your feet to connect with the ground again, knees bent. Grab your block or any support really, and we're going to set up for supported bridge. So block or bolster under the pelvis. Okay, so at the base of the spine. And it doesn't have to be a real high lift, just like lowest level here is perfectly fine. It's just a gentle lift. Just feeling a little opening in the front of the hips. And you can stay right here in supported bridge. If you want to get a little bit more release in the hip flexors, maybe extend your right leg long. So just one leg at a time. So the left leg stays as is, the right leg extends long, and the right heel is just resting on the ground. You can stay just like this, or you could draw your left knee toward your chest if you think that might be, if you think that might feel better. And maybe try it. If it doesn't, go back to the left foot on the ground. Feel that your head is resting on the ground, neck is relaxed, back of the shoulders are supported. Weight of the pelvis is supported. Your right leg is extended. Feel that gentle opening across the front of the right hip flexor. A really nice supported way to open up the front of the hip. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. We'll take a few more breaths on this side. If your right leg is extended, go ahead and rebend your right leg and then extend your left leg. Consider whether you want to keep the right foot on the floor or whether you want to hug the right knee to your chest. Which variation feels right in your body? Really listening and following your gut for what feels good today. So staying off of autopilot and tuning in to what your body tells you today. few more breaths here. Go ahead and re-bend both knees, both feet to the ground. Push your feet into the ground, lift your hips up and remove the prop that's underneath your back. And set it aside. Draw your knees in toward your chest and either circle the knees or rock from side to side just a little bit. Good. Keep your right knee in toward your chest and lengthen your left leg out to the edge of the mat. And just gently pull the right knee toward your right armpit. Just a breath or two here. And then we're going to move the right knee over to the left side of the body, coming into a spinal twist. So if your props are there, let your knee rest on your props so that it can be supported. So you might have your bolster or your stacked blankets. And then stretch your right arm out to the side, out to the right side. So it's just a really nice supine spinal twist with a little support under the left thigh, under the right thigh. Just a couple of breaths here. We won't be here quite as long. Just giving yourself the opportunity to twist. Feel the right shoulder release toward the ground. Couple of slow, deep breaths here. One more breath in. One more breath out. Ease yourself back to neutral, coming onto your back, knees bent. Now take a couple of breaths and bring yourself back to neutral. Be intuitive. If you had props on your left side and you want to move them to your right side for the spinal twist on the other side, go ahead and make that transition. And then eventually, we're going to go ahead and extend the legs. Hug the left knee in towards your chest, or maybe a little bit more toward that left armpit. And then when you're ready, send the left knee to the right side of your body, landing in your supported supine spinal twist. Left arm extends to the left side of the room. Taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. Feel the left shoulder relax toward the ground. Feel the left leg rest heavily on your support. Five more breaths here. Now from here, you're going to start to peel your left arm up and bring it all the way over so that you're coming on to your right side. So maybe drawing both knees up and just finding like the fetal position on your right side. Yeah, you might want to just push your props out of the way. Take a moment to rest here. We're only going to be here a breath or two. And bring your hands to the ground and slowly start to ease yourself up. We're going to make the transition to hands and knees. And you're either going to land in puppy pose or child's pose. Either of those can be supported in any way. Okay, so if you want to take a supported child's pose, the knees would be wide. The support would be under your belly. So puppy pose or child's pose. We'll be here about a minute or two. Make sure that you have a place for your head to connect. Okay, whether it's a block or the floor or your fist. Find a place to connect your forehead or rest your head. Soften your shoulders. And just appreciate the length that you're creating from your tailbone to your neck. Ten more breaths here. from your child's pose or your puppy pose. Slowly shift forward to hands and knees. And take a couple of spinal movements that feel good to you. It can be cat or cow, or any variation of that. Just finding a little bit of movement in the spine and the neck. And we're going to come into just a very brief downward facing dog. Okay, so when you're ready, tuck the toes, lift your hips up and back. Okay, and if downward facing dog is not appealing to you, just stay on your hands and knees and maybe just take a puppy pose, stretching the arms forward. And from downward facing dog, just walk your feet to your hands. This will be our only standing posture, is just a standing forward fold. Okay, so the feet will be at least hip width apart. They can be wider. Knees are soft, so meaning they are bent. Upper body's just hanging forward. Okay, so if you want to press your hands into blocks or bolsters or even a chair, okay, or a table, okay, whatever it is you have nearby, allow this standing forward fold to be supported. Feel where your feet connect to the ground and find balance between your feet. When you find that balance and connection to the ground through your feet, then shift your attention up the back of the legs and let your attention land on your hips. Feel that your pelvis is balanced above your ankles. So you're not leaning too far forward, you're not leaning too far back. You're balanced. And shift your attention up your spine, feeling that opening and release in the lower back. Mid back. And then feel how the weight of your body is pulling your upper body downward. Let the weight of your head traction your neck and release your shoulders. And then finally, feel that there is an inversion element here. You're in a supported inversion. Another really powerful practice. Allowing your perspective to shift. Literally seeing things from a different angle. Allow your body to land in stillness here for just a little while. Getting quiet. Listening to what comes up for you. And the knees a little bit more. Let your hands connect with the ground. Slowly walk your feet back. Lower your knees to the ground. And revisit your child's pose or your puppy pose. From your child's pose or your puppy pose, thread your right arm under your left arm and move it into a little bit of a spinal twist. Real gentle, just a couple breaths. The right arm slides under the left arm, stretching the back of the right shoulder and finding a little bit of rotation in the spine. Just one more breath here. And take your time as you unwind from this twist. Bring yourself through neutral. And then take your time threading the left arm under the right. So just switching sides. Gently ease yourself out of this posture. Take a moment to come back to neutral and then think about where you want to head from here. So my plan is a brief figure four on either side, and then final resting posture. So if you would like to do, if you think you'd like to finish being at a wall with like legs up the wall, consider going to the wall now and doing figure four at the wall. If you don't want to do legs up the wall, then just do figure four on your back on your mat. Okay, so for figure four, you're lying on your back, knees bent. We'll start with the right ankle crossed on top of the left thigh. Okay, left thigh is drawing in toward your chest, or the left foot can either be on the ground, knee bent, or the left foot can be pressing into the wall if you're at the wall. Okay, so if you're doing this at the wall, you're using the wall as a prop. And you can press your left foot into the wall and press your right thigh away from your upper body. If you're not using the wall, you can still press your right knee away from your upper body, and your left foot is either on the floor or your left thigh is drawing in toward your chest. Okay, so you pick what works for you today. I'm going to settle in just about 7 breaths here, or 5 breaths really. One more breath in. One more breath out. And cross your right ankle. And take a moment. And then make the transition to your other side. So left ankle is crossed on top of the right thigh. Figure 4, other side. Couple more breaths here. Gently release the posture. And then decide how you want to finish your class. Okay, it can be corpse pose, any sort of restorative or supported posture, legs up the wall, seated meditation. We'll be here about 2 minutes. Arrange your body in a way where you can completely release. And then allow yourself to move into stillness. Get quiet and listen. Listen to your body. Listen to that very quiet whisper, that quiet voice deep in your mind that's saying something. wherever you're at. Begin to deepen your breath. Allow a little bit of movement to come back into your body. In the next couple of breaths, consider making the transition back to seated. There's no rush. Take your time. We'll finish our class together in a seated position. Let your eyes remain closed. Bring your hands together at your heart. Together we fold forward, sealing in your yoga practice. Namaste. Have a great day, ladies. Stay cool. Everybody's animals were very funny today. They were very active. Every single one of you had an animal at some point that was like misbehaving. It was very funny. You had 3, Jennifer, yes. It's funny. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Thanks.